We are back for another episode of The Gilded Age on HBO Max. Time for episode 3, which is called Face the Music. It's saying 55 minutes, which is still shorter than the pilot, but longer than last week's episode. So, let's go. So excited.
Makes him feel comfortable.
Is the lawyer moving to New York City? That's what I need to know. Give me all that. Oh, wait. I promised myself I wouldn't talk about Tom so much this week. I don't want to be biased. I need to verify something real quick from episode 3. Episode 2. Of course, that won't be easy because this is HBO Max. Okay. So, the Gilded Age Mr. Morris, I think. I don't want to see any spoilers. I think I just saw a spoiler, a really big one. My bad. I was just trying to, oh my god, all I want to do, I'm good with faces, but I just wanted to make sure this character was who I thought it was. So basically, I'm thinking it's Mr. Morris, who last week went into business or made a business deal with George Russell. He actually double-crossed him, which George is very angry about. And the spoiler I just saw might have something to do with that. Anyways, yeah. So he double-crossed him. There's a lot of like business lingo, but I guess basically like he bought into a railroad station, I think, that George was going to build, and then the law changed, meaning the station couldn't be built, and he had something to do with it and made a profit from that somehow. Here, let me let George explain it.
You bought shares on margin, passed the law, and made a fat profit. Now I imagine you've sold them short, and you mean to cancel your own law, betting that the value will plummet. Then you'll buy them again when they hit rock bottom, and in the process, double or triple your ill-gotten gains. That is pure speculation.
What he said. Couldn't have said it better myself. Wait a minute. Watch this.
And President Arthur may be more
This guy.
enthusiastic.
Okay.
I have reason to believe so, yes. This has been an introduction
Oh,
only,
what does that look?
and I thank you for your courtesy. If you would like to know more, then please keep in touch.
Does Aunt Ada have a crush or possibly an old flame?
And now at the head of the American Red Cross.
Oh, what? What was that side look? Again. Oh?
Might I present myself? You're Miss Brook, I think. Miss Ada Brook?
I am, and this is my niece, Miss Marian Tom.
I am Cornelius Eckhart III.
I thought it was you. We knew each other when we were young in Pennsylvania.
Before life drove us to the four corners of the earth.
Have you been in New York for long?
She's never married, guys. This is so cute.
Connecticut.
Oh.
Okay, here's something interesting. So, at this event where the American Red Cross is trying to get support, Mrs. Morris tells a group of women, including Marian Brooke and her Aunt Ada, she tells them that Mr. Russell is no gentleman. I don't know if her husband told her his part in what transpired. It seems like the major part of his story to his wife was that Mr. Russell was extremely rude to him and he's no gentleman. You know, that's the gist of what she said. And I guess like her husband made that as the main reason why he just like can't work with a man like that, right? Marian is very quick to not believe that story and come to the defense of the Russells, saying, surely there must be another side to the story that can't possibly be the full truth. She's just like too sweet and naive for this kind of stuff with these people. And I think it's because she's taken with their son. This could be a problem in the future. She's gonna learn some cold hard truths about the Russells. Okay, so George was honest with Bertha about what happened.
There must be other ways.
If I do, I will have to put a large part of our capital at risk.
When you say those words, you stab me in the side.
And it's lucky you have the skin of a rhinoceros.
Shall we go up and get changed, dear?
When will your mistress be down?
Did you see that? She was literally just standing there waiting.
Is there something else?
Could you look
Only that Madam seemed
more
to suggest
desperate?
This is an important time.
Did she?
Smart.
Well,
He's
I
on to
suppose
her.
it is.
I just want you to know that we are all very much on your side.
Gag me.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is not going to end well, and I hate both of them already. I think that's their butler. Technically, that's her boss. Like, could he do something? Like, could he get rid of her?
Who sent it?
She'll tell us when she's ready.
From Mr. Raikes. He got the
HBO. I hate you for this one.
It's from Mr. Raikes. He got the job he was here to interview for, so he's living in New York.
And what is that to you?
You can't ask me to cut him dead.
My dear, should you meet Mr. Raikes on the street, then of course not. But I suggest only that you do not seek him out. He is not fit to be one of your circle. He is not a suitable companion, that is all.
Oh. It seems like a great deal to me. I do not wish to marry Mr. Raikes.
Then we have no quarrel.
But
Why?
I don't accept that he's not fit to keep me company. Certainly, he has behaved like a gentleman to me from our first meeting. I think I should be lucky to be in his company.
Agnes is cold.
Thanks for saving me at dinner. I didn't want to be cross-examined by that young jackanapes.
Should I save this for the
I don't know
end?
what report he'll take home to his
I'll
mother.
save the discussion for later, but I have thoughts on why Agnes is acting this way.
Must make
Okay.
friends.
Hello.
What a wonderful surprise.
Don't worry, I'm not staying.
It's a little less wonderful. Come in for a moment, please. Will you excuse us, Miss Scott?
Watch Peggy's face. Kills me. Oh, she knows.
We shouldn't be in.
Just for a moment.
Yeah, you should.
I can't stay, really. I'm meeting Aunt Ada at a luncheon party.
Hello.
Okay, she has to leave. She can't stay with him, right?
I must tell you, I can confirm it.
Because of her aunts? Okay. She's looking. He's looking. Oh my god. This is the best. They're like Romeo and Juliet. Oh, well, hopefully this ends better. Wait, what? Okay. Like, the business lingo going over my head, okay? So, you heard it earlier. Morris did what he did, right? To make money by going behind George Russell's back, right? He basically, like, double-crossed him, I guess. I think that's the right way to say it. Whatever law Morris is involved with, the law passes so Russell's railroad station cannot be built. So Russell is putting his wealth on the line, buying up stock, which is ruining Morris's plans to profit from his plan to double-cross Russell, right? So what Morris did to Russell was to make him money. But Russell is now turning the tables to double-cross and make money off of him. I don't know all the business lingo, but basically, like, Russell buying up all the stock will make Morris nothing. And Morris just revealed that what he did to double-cross Russell, Morris put everything on the line, all his wealth. So if Russell succeeds in turning the tables on Morris will be penniless. So the Morrises, they're like one of the prominent families. This will like put them on the outskirts. You know what I mean? Like they'll lose everything. And now what I saw earlier, the spoiler. Oh no. I was thinking something else was going to happen, but now I'm scared because I'm thinking another thing's going to happen. This will all make sense when we'll discuss it when everything plays out. There's a lot of double crossing going on. Last week it was the women's turn, now it's the men's turn. It's chaos. It's a hot mess. Okay, now there's rumors going around that Russell's plan isn't working and he's ruined, but Morris has concerns. He's praying it's true. But I don't know, I'm not convinced, because his lawyer or partner or whoever, when he told him to buy up all the stocks, he told him to do it under the radar. So it's possible like these rumors are flying around on purpose. Oh my god, we're 25 minutes in. What? I've already taken so many notes. Marian wasn't catching on to what Aunt Ada was saying, but we found out why Mrs. Chamberlain, who is married by the way, we found out why she's a pariah, basically. Apparently her and her husband, they were together before they were married. Sweet Marian was not catching Aunt Ada's drift at all. But I caught it, so that answers that question.
Did you use their ballroom for the fair? Why did you insist? There must be something you can do.
Okay. So the guy that works with Morris, or for Morris, he is Aurora Fane's husband. Aurora Fane is the one played by Kelly O'Hara. I forgot. That's her aunt and uncle, Mr. and Mrs. Morris. They're related, so her husband works with her uncle. Mr. Morris put all his wealth on the line because of this. Not only will he lose everything, the Fanes will also lose everything. I've talked about this, right? So Aurora Fane is Mrs. Morris's niece, but she's also Agnes Van Ryn's niece, I believe through marriage, so through her husband's side of the family. So because of that marriage, she's Agnes's niece. I think Aunt Ada also calls her her niece, and then, you know, her and Marian are actually pretty close. Talk about being related. But yeah, that's now two families with their wealth on the line. I mean, the Russells have also put their wealth on the line, but it's looking like, despite the rumors, George Russell is gonna win.
Mr. Raikes.
Look at that, a hand of the
When it
Statue
comes
of
to
Liberty.
stuck onto the statue's arm, then it will come back here?
That's the idea. But they still haven't got enough money for the plinth. The government refuses.
They'll find it.
Would you like to walk with us, Miss Scott?
Look this one.
thank you, sir.
Oh.
So, tell me about your adventures in the city. Are you all right? What happened?
Of course, I have no fortune, but I've got a good job and excellent prospects. There's nothing wrong with being a lawyer in New York.
Certainly not. But
Do you hear that? And if it's devotion they need to be sure of, then I can say, hand on heart, there is no man living who cares more for you than I. Let me spend what remains to me of life in the sole cause of making you happy.
Mr. Raikes, we've only met a handful of times.
You see, for me, I knew it once, when you came to my office for help that time. I could have asked you then, but now I'll keep on asking until you say no.
What if I say yes?
Then I'll stop.
Oh my, I would have said yes. Oh my god.
Send me a message when you want to see me.
Now.
I would have said yes. It's hot.
Are you alright? What happened? He proposed. I'm quite breathless. What did you answer? Nothing. Nothing of any purpose. You didn't tell him no? I didn't tell him anything. But you didn't tell him no.
I would have said yes.
I'm sorry.
I am not okay. I am not okay. Listen, she didn't say yes, but her face. But I feel like this is going to be a Mr. Darcy situation. Like, it's not going to be a yes for a while. I have fears, right? The longer it takes, the more chance she chooses someone else. But the shorter the time is, it makes me think they might get married and then something happens to him, like he dies. I'm not in this to get my heart broken. I'm in this for a happy ending for Tom and Marian. There's 2 minutes left. I think I know what's happening. I don't like this.
There you are. I thought I heard the front door.
Are we expecting any of the children for dinner?
Will's here, of course, and Louisa's on her way. But I don't think she's staying.
They're all good people, I'm happy to say.
What brought this on?
Why? Must I have a reason to tell you how proud I am of my family? You have made me happy and proud. You most particularly.
Love.
Yeah,
I should be weeping in a minute. Come in and sit with me.
I know what's gonna happen.
There's something I must do first.
This is really sad.
Is this just for me?
It is.
I'm a lucky fellow.
How's it all going?
They've offered to repass the law and let me build my station.
So I won't have to scrub floors?
Doesn't look like it.
I really wish this wasn't happening. No. No.
Is it finished then?
Not quite. Almost.
No.
It'll be a long time before the old men try to get the better of me again. But I think I've punished them enough.
That sounds very forbearing.
Yeah,
I like to do
you've
the right thing
punished them.
if I don't lose any money by it.
That's awful.
Hello.
So I actually filmed my final thoughts last night, but I don't think I was emotionally stable. I don't think anything I said made sense. So we're doing it again. This was by far the most emotional episode. I know some of the stuff I talked about while I was watching the show, but I'm going to just do like a run through of my notes as quick as possible before we get to the end. So we know that Mr. Morris put all of his wealth on the line to double-cross Russell. For vengeance, Russell puts all of his wealth on the line to double-cross Morris. More on that later. Aunt Ada is reacquainted with Cornelius, who she knew growing up in Pennsylvania. More on that later. When Mrs. Morris is talking about George Russell not being a gentleman, Marian is very defensive, and I think it has to do with her liking their son Larry. She's very naive about the Russells' true nature, and I think she's going to learn some tough lessons about them. I'm sure that'll come into play again. When Agnes finds out about Cornelius's sudden appearance, of course she's off to the races, saying he's only out for money because he doesn't have money, basically, not enough to meet her high standards. But there is more to the story. We'll come back to that. Turner She's the maid in the Russell's household, literally lurking in dark corners waiting for George Russell to appear. Like, what a freaking leech. I'm just waiting. He has not done anything yet, and yet I feel like he's probably done too much. I don't want to say like master of the house and she's a lowly servant. Not like that, but just like as a married man with a young single maid. Like, I feel like he's already, I mean, she like just outright touched him on the arm and he like barely batted an eyelash. He didn't even say anything. And I feel like when you watch things from this time, if that were like any other head of the household or whatever, they really would have called him out for being impertinent, might have even like punished them. I don't know, but he's just not strongly discouraging her, and that's a red flag to me. Oscar dines with the Russells, Oscar Van Ryn, and he flirts with Gladys in front of her parents. And then later, we find out that he's just doing it because he feels like, because of society standards, he has to marry a woman. We've already found out in the first episode that he is gay. Gladys is really young, and his attention, you can tell it makes her feel good, right? She's young, and I think like she genuinely likes him. I'm not gonna say she's in love with him, but she could certainly have a crush on him. Something about him using her just like, I don't know, it made me feel icky. I feel like I need to be honest about that. It just made me feel weird. The lawyer, Tom Raikes, he did get the job in New York City. He writes to Marian to let her know. And Aunt Agnes is so harsh about it. Basically just shutting her down and telling her she cannot even be friends with him. Like, he's beneath her. But I have theories about this. Well, not theories, a theory. Marian's dad basically took everything away from his sisters. He sold a lot of their family property and belongings. He left them with nothing. They were really, like, they had to fend for themselves, and Agnes is the only one who married. She married for money. We haven't heard much about her husband, his personality, but it kind of seems like she didn't marry for love at all. Purely necessity. I think it's made her bitter, and deep down I think she has good intentions. She just like doesn't want Marian to have to go through what she went through, but I think it's really clouding her judgment. She's being way more cold than she needs to be, but be patient because there's more on Aunt Agnes later, and it's positive. Okay, Marian. I said she's naive about the Russells, but she's not dumb, okay? She's had a meeting. Aunt Ada's there, Mrs. Morris, Mrs. Astor, who's Donna Murphy, Aurora Fane, who's Kelly O'Hara. She basically voices an opinion that no one else at the table agrees with, and they're shocked. Even sweet, soft-spoken Aunt Ada looks at her and tells her, it's time to be quiet now. Now, I'm not saying I agree one way or another, you know, with them or with Marian. Like, I like that she's vocal. We'll see. She's very opinionated, and she's kind of in a hornet's nest at the moment. I, myself, am very, like, opinionated, but sometimes, for some reason, when I read about characters or watch characters who are like this, they'll annoy me. So it really just depends on how far she takes it. You have to be discerning. When's the right time to speak up and when's the wrong time to speak up? So I'm on the watch for that with Marian. I've liked her so far. Don't test me. We finally meet Peggy's father. We still don't know what drove a wedge between him and his daughter. It has something to do with her leaving home. I don't know if what happened pushed her out of the house or if her leaving is what drove a wedge between them. But I'm assuming at some point things will become clearer. He wants her to move back home and work for him. She's determined. She's passionate about writing. She wants to be an author. And she's upset because her dad is not very encouraging. he just thinks it's impossible. We saw him for a brief scene. No Audra McDonald, but she was discussed. And she promised to go home for her mother's birthday. So I don't know if that'll be in the next episode, but that might bring up some more family discussion and maybe we'll find out more about that. Jack and Bridget, two people that work in the is it the Van? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they work for the Van Ryns. Jack takes Bridget out for a show. They get a night off. And they're just friends, right? He's being really sweet and nice. But he attempts to get a little more romantic, putting his arm around her, trying to hold her hand. And she is very skittish. And she straight up tells him, you know I don't like things like that. Oh my god, my heart goes out to her because I have a feeling, I haven't actually looked this up if it's been confirmed anywhere, I have a feeling there's probably abuse in her past. And they obviously highlighted it for a reason, so I'm sure that will come up again. Mr. Morris is getting very desperate. So, did I write it down anywhere? So rumors start flying around. I actually talked about this. Rumors start flying around that Russell isn't going to succeed and he's going to lose everything. But Morris is not convinced. And he's becoming desperate and he actually blows up at his wife and tells her she needs to grovel and beg for Mrs. Russell's forgiveness for the whole ballroom debacle. Mrs. Morris does not want to do that. And he yells at her. He's like, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. And she does it. And Bertha is cold as ice, straight up says, nope. What have you done for me that would give you the impression I would return the favor? That's what she tells her. And then she straight up gets up, tells the butler, Mrs. Morris is leaving. And that's it. Next, we see Peggy going to a meeting because a publisher said he really wants to publish one or maybe more of her short stories. Unfortunately, when she gets there, they're surprised because they thought she was white. The guy makes her wait and does eventually meet with her, and he's acting really nice. You're like, okay, what's going on? And then he says he does want to publish her story, but she has to do two things. She has to change her little girl character from white to black, and she has to sell them her stories. Her face cannot be associated with the story, her identity, all of that just goes away. She's not associated with it at all, which is totally unfair. In the end, she makes the bold decision to walk away from it, and immediately after, we see her talking to Marian. And she's like, this is my dream. Did I make a really dumb decision? And thank God Marian stands firm as a friend. And she's like, absolutely not. Why would you take that deal when you're not even credited for your work? It's not fair. You need to wait for a better deal. I love their friendship. And I love that every week they're getting closer and closer and we're seeing more of that. And in turn, we see Peggy supporting Marian. Like, every time she's with Tom, the looks they share, amazing. It's just like the glances, like, it's very subtle, but they're there and I'm living for it. I love it. Speaking of Tom, they meet up secretly. She's trying to avoid her Aunt Agnes and anyone who might spot them and gossip about it and let her Aunt Agnes know they're meeting up. Tom proposes. He proposes. Basically tells her he's loved her from the first moment they met and he wants to spend the rest of his life making her happy. What? And she's like, Tom, we've only met a handful of times. And he's like, I could have proposed the first time. I would have said yes. Marian did not say yes. However, she tells Peggy, I feel breathless. I mean, that tells you all you need to know. If you're feeling breathless, Miss Ma'am, you're in love. This is exciting, but I'm cautiously optimistic because this could go a couple different ways. Obviously, she didn't refuse him outright, but she may eventually just tell him no. That would break my heart. I'm not in this for a broken heart. Number 2, maybe it will be dragged out, kind of like Pride and Prejudice, and then they'll end up together, and it'll all be worth it, right? The journey. Or they get together very soon and marry, and it's very happy, and then something bad happens to break it up. If someone dies, I'm done. I can't do that. Cornelius visits the Van Ryn house and finally sees Agnes. Agnes asks Ada to leave the room so she can gossip with Cornelius right away. She looks him in the eye and tells him what's up. She basically repeats what she said earlier. She's like, I'm on to you. You're here because you heard that Ada's still unmarried and she might possibly have money. And you're dead wrong. She has nothing, but I'm on to you because you think she has something, and basically calls him a gold digger, right? He's like, no, you're wrong. I have pure intentions, blah, blah, blah. And then she drops an absolute bombshell. Apparently back in the day, he, I think, was going to ask the father's permission to propose to one of the daughters. I don't know if I'm stupid, but I don't think it was clear which sister it was. But it was one of them. Gossip got back to the father that he had been bragging in a bar about marrying his meal ticket because his family did not have as much money as the Brook household. When the father heard that, he rejected him. He said, no, you're not getting anywhere near my daughters. It's very obvious that's the truth because Cornelius immediately leaves and Ada is so confused. She's like, I don't remember him ever being this rude. And this is where Agnes has her first sweet moment. She is so gentle with her sister. She's like, oh, you know, he's a very busy man. Come, help me with the menus. I want to spoil you. She puts her arm around her. Like, she is so gentle and kind in that moment. And this is what I knew was somewhere in there, right? She lets her bitterness get to her, but I know those icy walls, that's not her. She's not a villain. So I know there's a good side to her. I know she has good intentions, and I think we'll see more of that. This is just the beginning. We are now at the end, and this is where I reiterate trigger warning for suicide. So the spoiler I saw online was that Mr. Morris is dead by the end of the episode. I, at first, thought, oh my gosh, George Russell murders him or has him killed by someone else. As the story went on and I realized Mr. Morris was losing all his wealth because of George Russell, I immediately saw what was happening and I was dreading it. I started to see it coming probably halfway through the episode. I could just feel a pit in my stomach. And then at the end, he and Mr. Fane and a group of men go to Mr. Russell. This is after his wife attempted to apologize to Mrs. Russell, and she said no. Mrs. Morris not only tried to apologize, she was asking Bertha to please speak with her husband, beg him to have mercy on the Morris family and the Fane family and the rest of their employees because they'd already lost enough money to make them poor. Nope. The Russells don't want to forgive them. They don't want to have mercy. They just want vengeance. They don't care. Mr. Morris literally gets on his knees and begs. And George, he's like, I feel a little pity for you, but no. He doesn't like what Morris did to him. He doesn't like what Mrs. Morris did to his wife, Bertha. He cares about keeping his wealth and winning over Mr. Morris. That's it. You can just see the devastation in all the men, but specifically Mr. Morris. And then he arrives home. He's speaking to his wife, talking about how much he loves her and his children. And then he tells her he'll be right down to dinner. There's something he has to do. And then he's in his office looking at pictures of his family. And against that, it's going back and forth between him and his office and the Russells talking about their victory, right? It's the juxtaposition is honestly a gut punch because you know what he's about to do. And then here's the Russells in their mansion gloating. Obviously, he has a gun in his office and you hear the shot and he takes his own life. And the episode ends. I was emotional not because it's like a beloved character died, but it's just the thought of it because this is so realistic. This is what money does to people. It just drives them mad to the point where like they can't fixate on anything except money. They lose sight of reality. Of course, both Mr. Morris and Russell had parts to play in this, right? But, you know, only one man wins, right? Only one man comes out with all the money. And I'm sure there's a scenario where both of them could have walked away with some money. I'm sure there was a way, but pride. Pride wins the day. I think all of his kids are grown. I don't think all of them are out of the house. I don't think his daughter is, but, you know, now he's left his kids and his wife not only with no money, but now they don't have him, and they're going to have to navigate life in a very different way than what they're accustomed to. And knowing these people from just 3 episodes, I don't know if anyone's going to be kind enough to help them. And it just makes me really sad. And that's really all I have to say. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode. I would love to discuss it with you. It was a lot. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that red button down below to subscribe and to become a member of my YouTube family. Also, click the bell to turn on your notifications. I will see you next week. Bye!